What's up, everybody? So let me just go ahead and fix the description here, because this is not live stream Q&A number 80. This is just going to be some live coding. Just give me one moment here. So this is going to be refactoring Java Android project to Kotlin. And let's throw in some SEO here. Coroutines, RxJava. What's some other things I could include? Let's do, I don't know, model view presenter. Let's do, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's probably good enough. All right, almost done. Just give me a little bit more time. There, that should do. All right, what's up, everybody? This is Ryan here, and so today, basically, it's been a long time since I've been able to do any kind of live coding, and to be honest, it's been a little while since I've managed to actually work on production code, because most of the past 2 months has been spent writing code for lessons and examples and things like that. So just going to be, I basically just wanted to take today to just have a nice break and just focus on writing some code for actual applications. So anyways, just give me one quick moment here. Okay, so what we'll start with is, let me just take you through, let's get the webcam going down there. So let me just take you through what I'm going to be working on today. So POS trainer refactoring. So today I will be refactoring an old Java project into Kotlin and doing plenty of restructuring of the architecture, package structure. I'll probably also make it a multi-module project, so I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of sort of architectural type stuff. I don't think I'll have so much time to get into implementation details. That'll probably be something I cover in a different live stream, because realistically I've got primary, well, what I'll do, let's start by just talking about the different features I want to add in this application. So what I basically did is I sat down, had a refreshment, and basically put together all of the different features which I would like to have in the application. And so here's the thing about this. So the first step in this process is to kind of, and I would write this down, I'm just going to verbally describe it. What I mean by that is, when I'm doing this process, I have a pen and paper, and it's a very systematic thing. But what you basically want to do is, when you want to design a new application or think of new features for an application, how you can go about doing that is you can ask yourself, okay, as the user, what do I want to do with the application? So in this case, this is POS trainer is the name of the application. So it's basically two things. It's an alarm application, which should also have some basically information and instruction on various exercises and stretches for posture. It's actually an older application of mine that I want to basically try and improve today. So with that in mind, here's what I came up with for the different use cases, or not use cases so much, user stories, I should say. So what we're looking at is, we want so alarm list feature, which displays all current alarms, inactive or otherwise. We have alarm feature, which is like a detail view, essentially, detail view of an alarm so they can edit it. Number 3, we have the, so there's a couple things I'll be adding. So there's the movement feature, detail view of a movement, which is going to be an exercise or stretch. So this is kind of like the exercise instruction part of the application. There's, what else have we got here? Movement list feature. You can kind of see these things follow a bit of a pattern here. Movement list feature. So detail view of all available movements. And then we have, this is going to be an interesting one, so a movie player feature. Probably don't need to add feature at the end of all these, but whatever. So plays movies which are clicked on from the, what is it, the movement list feature, movement feature. So that's basically it, I think. Yeah. So that's the start. We're also going to have like a splash feature. And then probably, this is already there, but we're going to have like an alarm receiver. And I'm probably going to use a broadcast receiver for that this time around, so we'll just kind of see. That's actually going to be one point that could be a little bit tricky, is setting up alarm receiver with, what is it, the navigation library. So I might just not even use the navigation library. We'll see. I'm still very hit and miss on it. Okay. So there we go. All right, so that's what I'll be working on today. I think the first thing I'll do is I'm just going to open up the app and have a quick look at how broken it is. And I like how Gradle is still working on it. That's pretty hilarious. All right, so what we're going to do, did this thing even build successfully? That's my first question. Reasonably so. I'm just going to try and make it. I suspect the dependencies are very dated. Yeah, that's what I figured would happen. Okay. Interesting. Hey, what's up, Mr. Mubaiwa? Okay, so this is kind of, so let me take you down a bit of a trip down memory lane. So when I created the code we're looking at here, it was probably in 2016. So this was the first application in which I really tried to do my best rendition, for lack of a better word, my best attempt at full clean architecture. So that means we have a front end, domain layer, and a back end, and really aggressively applying separation of concerns. So there's a number of different things which I do differently, but it's I'm pretty reasonably happy with what I did here. So a couple things I'll be doing, why I spammed the titles here, the Coroutines and RxJava in particular. One of the things I want to do is I'm going to be converting over from RxJava to Coroutines. This is something I've done in several projects. To be honest, if you're writing in Kotlin, I think you should use Coroutines instead of RxJava. Obviously, RxJava is still a really great tool, and if you're good at using that, that's totally fine too, but there's plenty of benefits to using Coroutines over RxJava. In strict Java projects, I would still recommend RxJava though. So, the first thing, let's look at the package structure, because that's going to be kind of important. So, if I recall correctly, this is not a multi-module project, and back then I also did this thing where I had multiple, let's see, we had a mock and a production build flavor, and I think, yeah, so that just provides different schedulers. So I can entirely remove that because there's a much easier way to basically get the appropriate scheduler for testing. Basically what this is, the whole purpose of this thing here is just that if you're working in RxJava and you want to test your RxJava code, then you need to make sure that the scheduler you're working with is schedulers.trampoline, like so. A, because there's an easier way to do this by using dependency injection, and B, because I'm not going to be using RxJava. I'm actually going to get rid of these things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the build Gradle file. And, yep, that one. And so a couple of changes. Compile SDK 28, build tools version. Let me just look at my other project and see what we got for some of these dependencies. So while I'm busy coding, feel free to ask questions. Why is that not showing up? There we go. This isn't my regular Q&A, so I'm not necessarily going to be able to answer questions quite as in detail, but I can still try and ramble as I'm busy doing some of the easier stuff here. So, not sure if I'm going to use Realm in this application anymore, but I actually could. I'll have to relearn it a little bit. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to stop messing around with these dependencies because I got to totally do that differently. What I am going to do is for build types, I basically just want to work. We can do release and debug, so we'll keep the build types. What I don't want is these product flavors anymore, so I'm going to just get rid of those. And then what we'll do is I've deleted them from there, and then I'll delete the source folders, and hopefully that won't cause any major problems. Привет, Murad. Not actually sure if you're from Russia, but what's up, buddy? Okay, so I've deleted the product flavors, which I won't be using anymore because they're pretty useless. I can also get rid of this here. That's not useful. And we can remove this source set. What's up, Xbloket? So what I am working on today is I'm basically doing some refactoring of an old Java project, converting it to Kotlin, and making some architectural changes, changing some libraries over, a whole bunch of fun stuff. Lots going on. So, so that's the first thing I wanted to mess with, just getting rid of those build flavors. Do I need to? I don't think I need to specify a flavor dimension anymore because I'm only working with one single build flavor, so that should be fine there. So I'm also going to look at the project level build Gradle file and make some changes there. Yeah, that one. Okay, so I was using that. That's good. There's a reasonably high chance I'll go multi-module with this project. So when you're doing multi-module in Gradle, you really want to be defining the dependencies you use in either the project level build Gradle file, or you can make like an external file called versions.gradle and you can import it here. But you don't want to be basically having to change these numbers in every single module level build Gradle file. That would be just really stupid. All right, so I'm basically just going to copy some stuff over from the other project. If I can find the build Gradle file. There we go. Alright, I'm going to just slap that in there inside of the build script. And any libraries I see here that I might want, I will copy down. So we're not going to use RxJava anymore, nor Makoto. Might use Dagger. In an application this scale, I might actually just do my own handwritten dependency thing, but we'll see. I don't really use Picasso anymore, so I think I'll have to import Glide. Don't need that. Don't need these things. I already have that set up. So I'll probably just copy down Dagger. And I'll have to look up what the actual dependency, what the Maven artifact version is. Sorry, I'm struggling to speak English today for some reason. Okay, Dagger 2.22.1. Where are you? Okay. And hopefully these things are where they need to be. Do I need any repositories? So I'm not using Firebase, so I don't think I need Fabric. Where is that? Yeah, we're not using Firebase at all in this application, so let's just get rid of all that. I'm not sure. So I could use Room or I could use Realm, and I honestly, I don't know what to do. If I use Realm, then I have to relearn Realm. That might not be a bad idea, because Realm might be a better solution for, I don't know, that's tricky. I'm gonna keep both for now. Did I have Realm? What was the dependency for Realm? What, did I hard code it in here or something? I am confused. Where is Realm? Where's the Realm dependency? Okay, either I'm blind or it's really not here. Ah. That is pretty weird. I didn't do multi-module, so why would Realm be missing from that? That's pretty confusing. Oh, maybe everything just comes in on the plugin? I don't know. I'll be honest, it's been literally like 3 years since I actually implemented Realm, so I'm in the process of relearning this. Luckily, Realm is really one great thing about Realm, which is basically like a database. It's a NoSQL database. It's very easy to put together, but same for Room as well. Okay, data, alarm database. Okay. Well, I'm going to assume it just comes in on the plugin then, because there's no actual dependency down here. Yeah. All right. So it looks like I'll have to fix all of this stuff. All right, so these are, I'm going to have to get rid of most of these dependencies because I've actually moved to the Android X dependencies. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste all of those in from the other project, and we're going to get rid of Gonna get rid of all of these. I think I'll probably have to re-import one or two of them. Don't need constraint layout there. Not gonna use Picasso. Can keep leak canary around. That's always a handy tool. Won't use TED permission. I think this is something to do with Dagger 2. Again, been a while since I messed with Dagger 2. I've been using basically service locator pattern with Android view model for my dependency injection, and that's been kind of working quite slick. But the only problem with that approach is that it doesn't necessarily scale extraordinarily well. Do I have lifecycle extensions? Yes. Let's get rid of that. And I'm just going to get rid of all that testing crap. Okay. So we got our Kotlin annotation processors. That should probably be capped. So when you're working with Kotlin, you need to change annotation processor into capped. Usually Gradle will give you a handy message for things like that. I don't think I'll do that. Yeah, I'll just remove it from the, yeah, let's just get rid of that. Not sure about this JSR stuff. I feel like, is JSR 50 something, I think that's something to do with annotations. Okay, yeah, it's all about annotations, so I don't think I'll need that. We'll find out soon enough anyways. Just get rid of Firebase. Okay, just about good there for the build Gradle file, I think. Just change that to that. Actually, no, I got JUnit already. And for the time being, we'll keep Dagger around, but I might give it the boot pretty quick. Okay, cool. And then let's just update these numbers up here. That's one of the handy things about Gradle is that when you really get into it, when you get it really configured nicely, then you can basically kind of just copy and paste your implementation from different projects. Default. Okay. Cool. I think I might need to specify compile options here. Okay. So I think that's basically it for the app level build Gradle file. I won't sync just yet because there's still lots of stuff to do in the project level build Gradle file. So this is the old one. I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's see, what version of build tools? Okay, so 3.0, 3.4.0. Realm Gradle plugin, I'll have to look that one up as well. I do not actually recommend Coin for dependency injection. There are reasons why it does not scale very well at all, and it's in some sense basically just like a giant service locator, which is basically what I write manually. Okay. Realm Gradle plugin. VOT version 5.11.0. Okay. Anything else? What else do I need here? Kotlin Gradle plugin, that's a start. The problem is this is configured to be a Java project, so it could be a little bit tricky actually getting Kotlin integration here, since I'm not starting from scratch. I gotta make a decision. Am I gonna use the navigation library from Jetpack or not? Because it can be annoying. On the surface, it's a really great library, but when you run into certain use cases, it really doesn't work very well, which I kind of feel like they maybe released it a little bit too early, to be honest, but what do I know? Okay, well, I think that's a good start. Kotlin Gradle plugin, cool. I won't need that. Okay, and now the moment of truth. I know it's not going to work properly, but let's just try and sync and see what happens. Okay, so I think my Gradle wrapper is screwed up, which would make sense. So that's in, I think, Gradle wrapper. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's the one. So let me just double check in the other project rather than guessing. Okay, yeah, that's it. So 5.1.1, and that should fix that, hopefully. I think it's totally fine to use Coin or coding in a small application. That's totally fine, but I actually find it easier to handwrite my own dependency injection in smaller applications. And the thing that they don't tell you about Coin and coding is that they have serious performance problems as the scale of the app grows. Because something that, if I may just tangent for a moment, people are terrified of Dagger 2 because I'll be honest, it is absolutely quite difficult to learn and to do properly. But the thing about Dagger 2 is that it is not arbitrarily made complex. It is by far, in terms of like an industrial strength dependency injection tool, it performs way better than the other ones. It's built by some of the best developers I can actually think of. So the thing about Gradle is it's totally overkill. Sorry, Gradle. Dagger. Forgive me. I don't know why my brain always mixes those up. The thing about Dagger 2 is that in a small application, it's basically overkill. As you can set it up faster by hand, but in larger applications, it becomes quite useful because writing the dependency injection code by hand in larger applications is very tedious and it can take a long time, and you kind of have to manually deal with certain things. Like instance management, which isn't necessarily impossible, but as like I say, as the scale of the program gets larger and larger, Dagger 2 is really the choice to go. And the thing is, so I was reading like I think it was a documentation for Coin, and they were highlighting like no compile time code generation as like a feature of Coin, and that really didn't confuse me. I thought that was kind of funny because that's like one of the primary benefits of using Dagger 2 is that it generates your dependency injection implementation at compile time. So just funny, a little bit of marketing they did there. Okay, so I think I need to where's the thing about using Android X dependencies? I feel like I need to set that up. I think that's in IDEA, is it? Oh, here we go. Gradle properties is where it is. So there's nothing in here currently. Okay, so what I'm adding in, so there's this file Gradle properties. So some of you should be aware that recently Google migrated a whole bunch of their artifacts, their repositories, to this Android X, for lack of a better term, address, different artifact, or Maven. I can't remember what's the name of that in Maven. I don't know, this particular Maven artifact, which is different from the older ones. So if you want to use these new dependencies, then currently you have to go into Gradle properties and you need to make sure that use Android X is set to true. I think that's of mandatory importance. Jetafire, that thing can actually cause bugs sometimes, but I think I'll leave it for now. So it's complaining that the SafeArgs plugin is not found. So I think that's because I didn't add it to the project level build Gradle file. Yeah, that would do it. I'm not actually sure if I'm going to use it, but we'll see. Okay, let's try syncing again. Arch lifecycle version. Okay. That's in build Gradle? Yeah. So what do I call this thing? Just lifecycle? Lifecycle version. Okay, let's try that. Oh yeah, it's taking its sweet time today. Still syncing. Good old Gradle. All right, so quite surprisingly, it actually Gradle actually built properly. Looks like I gotta update some libraries here. Okay, can we split this? Split vertically. Get rid of that. Okay, so support library version, we have alpha 4. Might as well update these while I'm here. Constraint layout, alpha 5. Life cycle, alpha 4. Navigation, alpha 2. And recycler view, alpha 4. Anything else? Room, alpha 7. Way behind on that one. Okay, cool. One more Gradle sync. Hopefully it won't take 3 days. Okay, that took a while. There we go. Okay, so I think so far I've got the the Gradle files basically where I want them to be for now. That should be adequate. The project itself isn't going to be building anytime soon because there's just a lot of stuff I have to strip out. But the next thing I want to do is I'm going to basically add some new modules to this project. So the app module, I guess I could write this out if people are curious about learning it. So I will be converting this from a single module app into a multi-module app with, so we're going to have a common module. We're going to have a domain module. We're going to have Android data module. We're going to have, of course, Android app module, or just app for short. And so the reason why I would bother creating these different modules, well, there's a couple reasons. Separation of concerns in terms of architecture, but a little more specifically, there's a good chance I'll be building a iOS front end and iOS back end in this application. So what I want to be able to do is the things that sit in the domain module and the common module, I want those things to be basically accessible or visible to both the Android modules and the iOS modules. Anyways, I don't plan to make this thing iOS as well in the short term, but pretty much long term. So when you want to add new modules, you basically just go to File, Project Structure, and Modules. And what we can do is we can just add in. Okay, so first what I want to add is, so we'll add in the Android data module. So for a module that is Android based but doesn't need any stuff to do with the user interface, usually you'll want to pick an Android library. That's usually a safe choice for the module. And this is going to be called Android data. Min SDK 21 is fine. That package name is fine. So we can go ahead and hit finish, and it'll probably do a Gradle sync, unfortunately. Yeah, it's syncing. Say goodbye to my bit rate. Okay, that's good. And then we'll add the... That's a confusing message. Pending changes will be applied to the project. Yeah. That's what I want to do. Okay. Okay, so in this case we're doing a... this is going to be the domain module. So in the domain module, if you're building a domain module, it should not have any Android dependencies. It should not be phone and tablet module. It should not be Android library. It should be a Java library. Now, technically, we're going to be using Kotlin, but yeah, let's just go ahead and set that up. So this one's going to be called domain. And Java class name, I'm not going to use it, so my class is fine. And yeah, we can finish that. Okay, that didn't take too long. And then we'll make a common module, and again, that'll be just a Java library there. Common, my class is fine. Finish. Okay, now we'll apply and see how that works. Okay, so I've added in the different modules that I want, and what I'll have to do is for the Android data module, I'm just going to make sure it has the appropriate information in here. So I'll just close that, open up the app level build Gradle file. And we'll just split that vertically. And pretty much just going to add in the same dependencies here. So we'll do Realm Android, because I might still choose to use Realm here. Add in the Kotlin stuff. And then all of this versioning stuff, that's going to get copy pasted over. Yeah. Okay. That's looking good. All right, so for dependencies, I don't need anything to do with the front end. Let's do Kotlin dependencies. That's a good start. Okay. I'm not even sure what else I need in there. I don't want that. I want JUnit 5, so we can get rid of that. Add in JUnit Jupyter, which is JUnit 5. Don't need this test runner crap here. What happened? And yeah, I won't be using Espresso in a backend module. Certainly not. I don't think I'll be using Espresso in the front-end module either. Okay, one other thing I forgot to do earlier. I'm going to set the version code in the main build Gradle file as well, the project level build Gradle. So that's going to be this one here. We'll say version equals, how does this go? Version code and version name. So version code equals 1, version name equals 1.0. Is that how we do that? That is how we do that. Okay, and then in these files we say here root project dot, this is version code. So again, what we're doing here is we just want to be changing things in one place as opposed to changing them in multiple places. I don't think this thing will need to be messing with vector drawables, so we can get rid of that. Okay, cool. That's that. Now I'm just going to get to work moving some stuff around. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to clean the project. So again, could be a little bit of downtime here. All right, so we got an error. Library project cannot set application ID. And I hear there's loud people talking outside of my apartment. I honestly can't remember what I have that set in the other project. Just let me pull up a multi-module project and see what I have set for that. I think I can just delete that line, but I just want to be sure. Space notes. Okay. Data, build Gradle. Okay, yeah, that turns out to be correct. All I gotta do is just delete that. Okay. Cool. Multi-module is working. So let's just do some package restructuring here. So basically just going to move the entire data package into the data folder. So we're going to go cut and paste. Yeah, move everything. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. There will be lots of errors, but I need to mess around with stuff anyways. Okay. So base, these will go in common. Did I make common? I can't remember. Yes, I did make it. Okay. Move everything. Move everything. Okay. What else do we have? Utils. So this is going to be, since I'm not using RxJava, let's just get rid of the scheduler provider. That can die. What's time converter? Okay, so what we're going to do, this is the kind of thing that can be turned into an extension function in Kotlin. This is one of the classic cases of extension functions. Is we used to have like these sort of utility classes in Java to perform simple operations like this with static functions. But in Kotlin, we have these neat things called extension functions, which are just a little more concise. And if you're familiar with Kotlin, they're actually more legible too, in my opinion. Just easier to work with. So what's activity utils? Okay, so again, this would be the kind of thing that would be turned into an extension function. This is an interesting one, the use cases here. So I'm going to take this whole use case package and we're going to cut that and put it into the domain layer. And move everything. Okay. Great. What else have we got? So these are the different features that we currently have. So we have alarm detail, alarm list. I'm just going to rename this one to alarm. Alarm list is fine. Alarm receiver is fine. For the dependency injection, I'm going to look at that a little bit later. We'll see about that. Again, still not sure. And this is another feature here, settings. So I didn't actually plan to do a settings feature, but I might still end up doing that. Okay. Fragment template, that's just an old template class, can get rid of that. And yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is we need the app module needs to be capable of, I wonder if I can rename that to Android app. Can I edit it? Is that a thing I can do here? Or do I have to like create an entirely new? I feel like I should be able to just change the name of this stupid thing. But I also don't want to brick the program if I do that. All right, well, I'm going to try and hopefully, I think what I can do is this. Let's say, let's turn this into Android app. Okay, it did kind of work. And then in settings.gradle, I need to make sure that this thing points to that, so Android app. And with any luck, that didn't screw up the IDE, because hopefully it doesn't have other ideas about what that thing is supposed to be called. So let's just try that. Oh, it caused a problem. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, I'm gonna manually just undo what I did here because that's just not working the way it should be. Let's just call that app and whatever. Seems kind of weird that you can't just change the name of a module. Maybe there is a way to do it, but that obviously didn't work. Okay. Oh, I actually wrote unit tests back then. Good on me. Okay. So what we'll do next, we'll set up the different build Gradle files to basically access the appropriate other modules. So let me just look up really quickly how to do that. Implementation project. Okay, so we're going to say implementation. So this is how you, in a multi-module project, how you get your different modules to be able to actually access each other. So you type implementation project, and then you give the name of the modules. So in this case, this is the Android front-end module, so it's going to need to talk to the Android data module, the domain module, and probably also the common module, I would think, but we'll see. So yeah, that's all you need to do, and now your modules can talk to each other. I'm just going to add in some other stuff. So let's go to the build.gradle file from Android data. It will definitely need to talk to the domain layer. Not sure about common. That might be the only thing it needs. Yeah, I think that's it. Common, I don't think will depend. I think we'll have the domain layer maybe depend on the common layer. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to think about that a little bit. But yeah. Okay, and what else do we have? So that's Android data app. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's just sync that. Okay, so why are you failing? So it's complaining about alarm database because I use RxJava in it. So I'm not entirely sure how much of this code I'm going to be using. I think what I'll do, the first thing I'll do is I'll try to get this back-end stuff working a little bit better. So we're not going to be, so this needs to get converted into Kotlin is the first problem. So I'm going to start hammering out a couple Kotlin classes and we'll go from there. So this one, they'll have the same names, alarm. Let's call this alarm repository. And maybe slightly different names. And I'm just going to copy and paste this stuff in, and it should automatically convert it to Kotlin. That was silly. Okay, I didn't copy and paste the whole friggin' interface. Duh. Okay. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. Okay, so we're not going to be using RxJava, so I'm going to get rid of all these. So the first thing I'm going to add in here is I want to add a result wrapper object. And I think that's going to go in common. I think that's a good place for it, so we'll add it there. So common is for stuff that has nothing to do with, I don't like using this term, but like the business logic of the application, but is still sort of not tied to Android or iOS or any particular thing other than Kotlin and Java. So in that case, what I'll do is I'm again just going to copy and paste a result wrapper that I use elsewhere over. And we'll see what that looks like. Let's go to, okay, where am I putting that base? Let's chuck it in here. Okay, so this result wrapper thing, basically what I want to do is for pretty much any interaction between the front end of the application and the back end application, if there's any chance that it could throw an error or something like that, I want to be returning this result wrapper object, and it just basically makes error handling much simpler. So I recommend setting that kind of thing up for the people watching here. Really, really great little pattern. It's based on, one of the ways you can build it is kind of based on functional programming. So one thing I will do is I'm going to call this success. Instead of value, because that's been confusing some people when I talk about it. So that's that. Okay, so we've got our wrapper, result wrapper there, and then so what we're going to do is instead of returning these things, we're going to return our result. So let me just open it up. So how this result wrapper works is it accepts two generic types, which ultimately will either be some kind of exception on the left, or it'll be some kind of value. So what we can do is we type exception on the left, and then whatever we actually want to return, we type that on the right. It's still complaining. One argument type expected for thing. How come you're complaining? All right, now I feel silly. What am I missing here? I don't feel like I'm missing anything. That's kind of weird. Oh, maybe it's because I don't have the... Okay, so this is in the... I think I know what's going on. So this is the Android data module, and I don't think I actually added that as a module dependency. So let's see if that was the mistake. Yeah, I only added domain, so that's why it's not showing up. So we'll just do that. Oh, multi-module app programming is so much fun. If you do it well, though, it is actually quite nice. Okay, I think maybe the other problem here is it's not actually... I think it's using... I'm going to have to give this thing a different name, because the problem here is it's inferring this other result, which is coming from the Kotlin standard library. So instead of using that, I want to use this thing. So we're going to have to rename this thing... I'm actually just going to rename it to result wrapper. Yeah, it's a longer name, but that will avoid the naming convention problems that we're dealing with here. Okay, there we go. Now we're in the green. So why did this thing get converted into a val? That's pretty bizarre. So all of these are going to be, since we're using coroutines, they're going to be suspend functions. And if you're curious what that means, I have a couple tutorials on coroutines that I put up recently on my channel, so you can go check that out. It'll give you some idea. Yeah, it really didn't do a good job converting this. Okay. What was that function before? Now I'm kind of confused. Okay, alarm source. Oh, I see. It inferred that get alarms was supposed to be a what you could call a property a property for alarm objects, which is totally not what I wanted to do at all. So that makes, it's broken, but it makes more sense why it was turning that thing into such a bizarre function. Okay, so again, here we're going to be returning result wrappers for everything. Only difference being this one's just going to return an alarm. That should say alarm by ID. These, so when we don't actually care about returning a specific value, I basically just return unit here, which is basically like Kotlin's void. Hey, what's up, Radic? Okay. All right, that's looking good. Then we'll just go into the, let's see. So that's alarm. This should say alarm repository. Then we'll go to alarm source, which is the old Java class, and just delete that. So for those of you who are just joining me, basically the goal for today is I'm refactoring an old Java project into Kotlin and turning it into multi-module from single module and all kinds of restructuring for the architecture and stuff like that. So lots of crap going on, and feel free to ask questions while I'm busy talking to myself. So this is now going to become alarm repository. This is okay. I need to actually convert this into Kotlin. I wonder if there's a quick way to do that for single files in Android Studio. I don't actually remember. Oh, there it is. Okay, Control Alt Shift K. Control. Oh, that's a lot of keys. Control Alt Shift K. Oh, is this going to do like the whole project? Because I don't mind, but that would be pretty crazy. I think it would have... Okay, good. It only worked with the current file I was looking at. Okay. So it did a really poor job of converting this over, but whatever. At least it probably turned it into a KT file for me. How useful. Okay, so... So what we're going to do, we need to, of course, implement the members here. Wow, it really did a poor job. So I feel like there's more than just those two functions in alarm repository, so what's going on there? Why didn't it want... Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if I can use any of this realm code. So for the time being, I'm just going to copy and paste it into the new functions. Yeah, that should do. So this was get alarms. Just get rid of all that crap. Was this update alarms? Yeah, this should be update alarms. or update alarm. Okay, so that's going to be this stuff here. Then we have oh, now I'm confused. Maybe that wasn't update alarm. Oh yeah, maybe I should just read the code and then I would figure out what it was, because that's delete arm. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Update alarm. And is, okay, get alarm by ID is all that's missing. Cool. Get rid of all this ugly crap. No more RxJava. Goodbye. The only problem with using Room is that it is not cross-platform compatible like Realm is. So that is why I'm not going to be using Room most likely. Okay. Okay, I don't think I'm actually going to mess with this stuff. Because I'll need to just go back and make sure that there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, to be honest. So I'm going to comment out just the, this is some RxJava wizardry here. Let's start with that. That's pretty ugly. Let's say result.build. Result wrapper.build, rather. Okay. So in the results, which return unit, what we'll do is we basically just say result wrapper. Sorry, I used to call it result, so that's gonna, I'm probably gonna screw that up pretty frequently today. And then we just return unit here, just like that, and that solves that problem. And that'll be the case basically anywhere where I used to call onComplete in RxJava. Yeah. So in this case, we will return the alarm list. This is pretty ugly code, to be honest. This is 2016 we're looking at here. Okay, so it looks like I have some problems with extra brackets or something. Or it's complaining that I don't have, I'm not returning anything. Okay. Yeah, I should definitely write an extension function for that. Whatever, so just momentarily we're going to say result, just to get it to shut up for now, build alarm. I think that should make that thing happy. Yep. Why is it complaining? I don't understand why it's complaining here, no matter what a return statement is. Oh, it's because it's not a single expression, that's why. I'm used to single expression syntax. Okay. So why is it complaining here? Oh, because do I need to throw? There we go. That's why. Okay. Okay, so if it returns an empty list, that's not actually necessarily an error. That just could mean that the user hasn't added any alarms yet. So we could just return empty list. How do we specify the type? Can I specify the type here? List of alarms. Cool. Okay. Next. So we need return statement there. That's cool. And here, again, we'll need return statement. And that'll need to be a throw. And Control-Alt-O to organize imports, and there we are. That's that thing compiling, not necessarily finished. Let's move on to the alarm manager. So we're going to Kotlin-ify this class here, and I'm sure it's going to turn these stupid things into properties. So let's, what was that? That was Control-Alt-Shift-K. Oh, did it actually do it properly? That's cool. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so these are all going to be result wrappers, which return unit, which is basically like a completable, essentially. I should actually make like a completable result instead of having this extra kind of boilerplate going on. I don't know. I guess it still potentially will need to return the exception, so that's fine. Okay, that's the alarm manager. I'll just make sure these are spend functions. Cool. Okay, that's looking good. Then we'll look at the alarm service. So again, Control-Alt-Shift-K to convert it to Kotlin, and we'll see what the damage is. Not terrible. Not terrible. So here's the deal. I don't think I'm going to be using Dagger 2 in the back end. I think I'll use it in the front end, but I'm actually going to be using a different approach, which is basically to pass in a service locator to the back end in order for it to get a hold of what it needs. I think that's what I'm going to do instead. So what I'll do, I'm just, for the time being, let's just get rid of that. Just going to get it to regenerate all the functions from scratch here, from the interface. Okay. Set alarm. All right. Cancel alarm. Dismiss alarm. This class basically works with all of the Android service classes like Media Player, Audio Manager, and Vibrator, and Alarm Manager, and all those sorts of things which actually wake the phone up. I forget, where did I copy and paste that from? Dismiss alarm, I think. Yep. Now, I'll need to double check that all this code still works properly because, again, this is going back pretty far. Start alarm, there we go. Okay. Okay. It is ugly, so we'll have to get to work here. So first thing is, when I built this project originally, I was really waffling. I was really undecided on whether or not to use the term reminder or alarm. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to go Control R and turn reminder into alarm. That will get rid of some of the problems. Or did I just make it significantly worse? That's also possible too. Did it import the wrong alarm class? Oh, this thing needs to be turned into a Kotlin class. That would help. And we'll make it a data class. I'm gonna make these all vals, although we can keep some of them as nullable as necessary. Again, I might need to tweak this stuff a fair amount. Good old Kotlin, that's much cleaner. There we go. Why is that still showing up incorrectly? It's like it's not importing the right alarm object. Oh, I think I know what's going on. The problem is I called this instance of the calendar as alarm, and then I'm also passing in what would you call that? Come on, brain, you can do this. Parameter. An argument called alarm, so that's why I'm getting confused here. So this thing shouldn't be called that. Let's call that alarm. Let's say alarm time. and that should fix this problem that I'm dealing with here. Alarm time, alarm time. Okay, there we go. Comes down to the problems being naming conventions. So this is an interesting one. This is in the Android data module. So I might have to have the Android data module depend on the front-end module. Or what I could do is I could set up a broadcast receiver instead. So I think for the time being, I'm going to comment that out. Actually, let's comment out all of this and slap a big to-do convert to broadcast receiver. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. We'll do that. Going to be a lot of to-dos in here. In this case, we can say result.build unit. Result wrapper.build. Okay. Oh, thank you, autocomplete. That's beautiful. Okay. And so it's complaining that I'm missing permissions. I thought I did have that in the manifest file. Weird. Okay, whatever. Oh, I get it, because this is a separate module. That's why it's complaining. I do have the permission in the app module, but this is a different one. Okay. Cool. Anything else? Okay, well, it should compile, and that's kind of my main goal here. Let's just go ahead and convert this again into Kotlin. Be interesting to see how nicely Realm plays with Kotlin. I'm not actually sure. Okay. All right, and we can get rid of all of this. Goodbye. All right, so that is the data module moderately fixed up there. Cool, these are all Kotlin classes, so there's not actually anything else I need to do here, I don't think. So that's cool. Let's move on. Now I'll look at the domain module here. Convert this stuff into some Kotlin. So I had all of these use cases, so So, just a comment here. Radek mentions to write unit tests to test the class that I'm refactoring and to check the unit test works with the refactored class. So I actually will be writing unit tests before I implement the classes that I'm refactoring here. Like I'm basically just converting them to the point where they are compiling. But as far as the actual implementation, you're absolutely right. I will be implementing them, and so actually writing out this code backed by test-driven development. So basically the goal here is I know I'll need some of this code. So anything that I kind of think I'll need, I'll just kind of comment it out. And then I want to make sure that the function stubs are ready to go. But when it, like I say, when it comes time to actually code out the implementation here, you're right. I will be using unit tests for that. Very good suggestion. The some people in testing sort of have this attitude that you absolutely must write. You're not allowed to write any production code unless it is to make a failing unit test pass. And I think that's if you really want to do test-driven development properly, then I think that's a reasonable assertion. But the thing is, I do think there are classes which need not be backed by tests, in particular humble objects or passive view. And so I'm kind of in the middle of quite a bit of disagreement on testing in that regard. I am not really someone who goes for 100% test coverage. However, basically my general rule is the tests. The thing that I look at when I decide whether or not I'm going to write a class backed by tests is basically how complex is the class, how much logic does it have, and how easy is it to test is another factor. Anyways, that's just kind of rambling. So now I'm going to convert these use cases. Now I need to decide if I'm even going to use them as the thing. I think it makes sense because I'm going to be doing multi-platform. So I think I will keep it. The thing that I'm wondering about is so there's a point where having use cases and a domain layer is actually pointless. It doesn't actually really help you that much. It's just an extra arbitrary layer of abstraction over the back end. So the point where it becomes useful is if you, in your domain layer, need to coordinate multiple different backend classes or repositories in one single user story or use case or whatever you want to call it. There's too many names. So I think I will keep them for now and kind of experiment with them. Okay. What I think I'll do, so I'm going to use some use cases from my friend Darrell's clean architecture project, because those are all set up and ready to go. Except I think they'll need to be... Alright, well that's... yeah. Just make sure I paste the link here so people know where to get this. make sure I give a shout out to my boy Darrell Bitsy. Okay, so this was a subject of debate which I had with Darrell, whether or not to basically use suspending functions in the how can I put it? Well, you know what? I'll just spare the debate and do it the way I want to do it, to be honest. So the one change I will make here is I'm going to turn this into a suspend function. Or no, not that one. This one. What's going on here? I think... Okay, so the problem is it still thinks it's a Java class. That is the problem. Oh, now it's saying Kotlin not configured. Did I forget to configure Kotlin in this project? Yes, I did. Let's figure out how to do that properly. Okay, domain, build Gradle. Okay, so we just add apply, plugin, Kotlin. Cool. So that should hopefully fix that. Oh. Okay, did that fix our issue here? So this is going to be Control-Alt-Shift-K. Wow, that really... Damn. Why does it think... No, I don't want to convert it because it's already Kotlin. Silly IDE. Okay, so the problem is I deleted all the stuff that used to be here. So I'll have to basically rewrite all of these use cases, but that's not a big deal. Okay, cool. So I'm wondering why it's saying redundant. Okay. Oh, that should do. Okay, well, I'm gonna start by approaching it like that, and then we'll just kind of see how it goes. Again, I'm gonna basically back any of these use cases which do anything complicated. I will actually test them, but I'm just gonna go through and just convert them all into. I just realized what I'm doing is really stupid here. This is supposed to be the abstract class, not the specific use case, so I'm totally screwing up royally. Okay, let's just leave that one like that. And what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to copy and paste in here. That's much better. Okay, so this is the use case, and then use case completable. Hmm. I don't think I'll bother with that. Yeah, because I'll just return a null. No, not a null, rather a unit result wrapper. So I don't think I'll need this use case completable base class here, so I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, cool. So first step is I'm just going to convert all of these Java classes into Kotlin classes. Okay, just get some extra space here. Control Alt Shift K. Control Alt Shift K. Control Alt Shift K. Herp de derp. Cool, done. Close all of them and then just to open them all up again. And I'm just going to basically work through them and get rid of any compile errors. Okay. So get alarm needs to talk to the alarm repository, it's called now. Oh, you know what? I screwed up because the I just realized the interfaces for the backend actually need to be sitting in the domain layer, and then we'll have implementations separate. That's something that needs to get changed over. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to actually take these interfaces, let's see, yeah, just those two, alarm manager and alarm repository, and those are going to be sitting in the domain layer instead in a package which I will call repository. So the interface sits in the domain layer, and then that way both the Android data and the say iOS data modules will be able to depend on the same interface. And yeah, so I'm going to do that. So just go cut and paste. Yeah, it's totally fine. I don't care. Okay. So I thought I did make it so that this thing depends on domain, so it shouldn't actually be complaining about things not being visible. So domain needs to depend on common, so that should fix the error it currently has here. So let's go to this and we'll say implementation. I already forgot how to write the statement to import project. Okay, implementation project common. That's what I want. Okay, perfect. There we go. That's much better. Now it's complaining because alarm is a domain model, so that should be in the domain package as well, or domain module. Okay, so we're going to call this I like to call this thing domain model. That confuses other people, but at this point, there's just the word model has become so ridiculously overloaded with different meanings that it honestly kind of pisses me off. I was trying to help this fellow this morning kind of understand how what model means in model view presenter, and it's just such an awkward thing to try and explain because it's literally a word that has like at least 3 different overloaded meanings to it. You can look at the word model from an architectural perspective. The word model could mean a specific data model, which again, or it could mean the entire back end of your application. And that fits under the definition of model because both a single tiny data model and your entire back end are ultimately responsible for structured data storage and access. So it's just such an annoying thing to actually explain to people. The way I deal with it, I don't actually call my backend. I don't call it model. I call it data. When I use the term model, it's generally speaking some particular sort of data model. This should not say view model there. This, yeah. Let's. I thought I copied. Okay, I did copy it over. That totally shouldn't say view model. Again, this code is from 2016, so it is what it is. So Radek mentions other suggestion, convert one method interfaces to functional type. Could you elaborate exactly what you mean by that? Okay. I'm aware of what function types are, by the way. I'm just not... if you could paste like a code snippet for what you're talking about, that would be great. Okay, so... Okay, that's looking better. So this model will stay here because this particular data model is associated with the Android backend. That was a good voice crack. So that should be fine. So we're making some good progress here. Let's get back to messing around with the use cases. Not sure why it's having trouble deciding which alarm to import. There we go. Cool. Okay, so you're suggesting... I'm not sure what you mean by one method interfaces is the thing I'm... are you saying an interface which only has a single function or method? Do I have any of those? I don't think I... Yeah, I don't really have... Unless I already forgot about one that I was looking at earlier, I don't really have a single or one method interfaces. So I'm kind of struggling to put together... I don't... I think... let's see. I'm going to assume you're referring to this base class here. So why would I... Yeah, I'll need to see more code to understand exactly what you're saying here, unfortunately. like I say, I know what function types are, and I can understand the code snippet you're sharing me, but I need to actually see what... Are you talking about setting the return type to a functional type? Because what I would rather do is return a result wrapper instead. So anyways, there's some interesting stuff I've seen with Kotlin where you can, of course, pass function types, function references in and call them and stuff like that. So interesting stuff. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to shut up and get back to messing with these use cases here. Okay, so for get alarm, this thing requires alarm repository. And so let's look at my use case base class. Okay, so for the type, it needs to be the whole... Why is there two parameters there? That's mildly confusing. Okay. So string was what? So string is the argument, and then the alarm is the result, I guess. So in this case, so there's another base class. Let me copy that over. Use case with params. Clean architecture. Okay, so we're going to make a new class, new use case with params. Whoops. Wow, that copied a lot more than I wanted it to. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. So, so the, what is it? The which value? So the left value is the parameters, the right value is the result. So in this case, we'll be passing in a string ID, and then the other value will be a result wrapper, which has its own generics, which will be, so which one is this? This is get alarm. So this is going to say exception or alarm. And it's complaining. Because this needs to be use case completable. Or no, use case with params rather. This type has a constructor. Okay. Oops. Implement, build use case. Okay, cool. There we go. Let me just clean this stuff up a little bit here. Okay, so get alarms by ID. So we're going to rename this to alarm repo, just for consistency's sake. Get alarm by ID. Params. Okay. And this needs to be a suspending function, which I thought didn't I specify? No, I didn't specify in this one. So suspend, fun, execute. suspend find build use case. And then this needs to be a suspend. Conflicting overloads. There we go. Okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay, cool. So that's the first one. Let's go to the next one. Get alarm list. So does this thing need parameters? Nope, so we can keep it as a use case. In this case, we're going to return a single type, which is going to be result wrapper, which returns a list of alarms. And the first type for that needs to be exception. Let's get rid of that. Alarm repository. Okay, cool. And this will be result wrapper exception. What did I call it? Build use case? I'm not sure if I'm using Gradle's library totally properly here. Let me just look at this use case thing. So okay, so this basically is just like a inversion of control thing. So execute will return whatever build use case returns, and then execute actually just calls build use case. Okay, so I think I'm actually using this properly. Despite my best efforts. Okay, so this one. Just going to take a momentary break here to get a drink, and then I will be back in a moment. I'm not sure if I'm set up to run commercials. Okay, so possibly an ad is running. I will be right back. Okay, and we're back. So if you are just joining me, I am in the process of doing a giant refactoring of the POS Trainer application. It's an old Java project that I'll be converting to Kotlin, and I've been doing a huge amount of restructuring of the architecture, so turning it into multi-module. So I've added a common module, domain module, Android data module, and yeah, so basically what I'm doing right now is I'm in the domain module, and I'm messing around with that, basically converting it from Java to Kotlin and making sure that it's working properly. Okay. Anyways, back to reality here. Build use case. Why did it do that? That's annoying. This is var arg shit. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so it's still complaining. Okay, what do you want me to do here? Oh, that's really confusing. Okay, that's like exactly the same thing. Okay, so in this case, get alarm list, we're going to type alarm repo dot get alarms. And we can make this a single expression function. No reason not to, really. And it's still complaining. Did I screw this up? Okay, so we only want one parameter. Oh, now it wants the constructor. Okay. Okay, that's looking better. Let's see if I can fix this up a little bit quicker here. So this is a use case. Does it have params? Yes, it does. So this will be use case with params. Copy that over first. And so the input parameter is an alarm. And the return value, so I need to know if it completed successfully, but I can return a unit since it's the alarm manager. Okay, which alarm manager did it just import? Okay, that's the right one. Okay. Cool. And again, we'll make that single expression syntax. Make it a little prettier, a little more concise. Great. Next. So again, we need parameters, so this will be a use case with params. Oh, the fun boilerplate part of programming. So, does anyone have any questions so far? If not, that's okay. I'll just keep talking to myself. But if anyone does have any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them. Okay. That's that one. Similar idea with toggle alarm. Oh no, this one's more complicated. Okay, so this is one that I will actually probably write with test-driven development because it coordinates multiple different services. If I really wanted to, I could freehand it, but I think in order to be a little more consistent, I will actually implement this thing with tests. But before I do that, I'm just going to fix the constructor. So alarm repo, alarm manager, you already know what that is. Don't need a scheduler provider. So toggle alarm does take parameters, so this will be use case with params. Parameter is an alarm. And it'll return a completable equivalent, which will be exception unit. So Reddick asks if I have plans to do a multi-platform project. This one will eventually be multi-platform, iOS and Android. And then for my Space Notes application, I'm planning to make it iOS, web, and Android. So I'm hoping to start on that soon. It's just been I've basically been spending the past 4 months aggressively building a whole bunch of tutorials and courses and stuff like that. And I just haven't had the time to get around to building out the Space Notes application multi-module. But that is my primary goal. Maybe not this month, but next month. And I will try to stream a lot of that live and make some content out of it. But to be honest, it's kind of tricky because it's when I'm like building a big multi-module application for the first time, making tutorial content out of that is sometimes not the best idea if it's my first try. Okay, but I am preparing this application for multi-platform. Okay, so that needs a constructor. So we're just going to actually leave this as a to-do. Looks like I'll need to add in some Kotlin imports here. So let's do... Okay, so Coroutines core. I can't type apparently. I think I still need to add in... I think I still need the Kotlin extensions plugin, but I'm just going to test it without. No, I shouldn't need that yet, at least. Okay, so plugin is not the same as the library version. Oh well. Whatever, we'll see if that breaks the application. Okay, I've got my to-do function. That's actually all I needed to add in there. I might not actually need this Coroutines dependency. I don't think I will. I'm going to get rid of it. I think I need the stdlib, but I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Anyways, back to our regular programming. So, like I say, I'm not actually going to implement this particular I'm gonna actually back this particular feature with tests is what I'm taking forever to say. So that's going to return Yeah, I do have the stdlib jdk8 Reddick. I was talking about the Coroutines core. Okay. Yeah, let's just to do that as well. To do. All right, that's good enough. What next? Looks like this is the last one. Update or create alarm. So this requires params, use case with params. Sorry, my brain is actually starting to slow down at this point, so there's a bit of lag time here. Okay, so that's the argument is an alarm, and then again we have our result wrapper. That's not what I wanted to copy paste there. Where's my result wrapper? There we go. Okay, this is alarm repo. Okay. Boom. Oops. No. Ah. There we go. Okay, and that is the domain layer refactored. Oh, it looks like it might be missing a few. Yeah, I totally missed a few. Never mind, false alarm. Celebrated too early. Okay, so... should be able to copy paste that whole thing. Cool. That's looking good. Delete alarm. Again, copy paste that whole thing. This is the boring, repetitive, and tedious part of programming, where you're just going through refactoring things mechanically. But the thing about this is it's also one of the most common causes of mistakes when you're doing a whole bunch of copy and paste type stuff. So I'm even taking a little bit of a risk doing all of this copy and paste. But the thing about it is, like, I'm not really going to do test-driven development for use cases which basically just fire one single, they just call one method on one repository, for example. Because if I can't look at it and figure out if it works, then I should basically quit programming. But any time, like for the use cases where there's a couple different things going on, then I am going to put on my TDD hat and actually make sure that I'm not just kind of screwing things up, basically. Because that's the real benefit of, well, there's many benefits to test-driven development, but one of the best ones about it is that you catch your bugs sooner because you're and you can catch them without even having to deploy your application to a device, since you can just run the unit tests on the JVM. Okay. Uno más. One more. So this is dismiss alarm. All of these return that same result. Cool. So that is for real, I think. The domain layer refactored. Just double check. Make sure everything's nice in Kotlin. We can get rid of that random Java class there. Okay, that's a domain layer refactored. Oh. Alright, so I don't think I'll stream for too much longer. Just give me a moment to figure out what else I can do. I guess I could get started building out some test cases and classes and so forth. So, yeah, what should I do? You know what? I think what I'm going to do. We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes, so I've been streaming and coding for quite some time. So I think what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to call it a day for live stream. I'll stick around for like 2 minutes in case anyone has any final questions, and then that will be it for today. But I'm going to try and do this a little more often because it's not that I have run out of tutorial making work, but it's just to the point. I've been spending so much time making tutorials and courses and videos that I'm trying to just carve out some period of time where I can actually just write some friggin' production code and yeah, get that done. So anyways, I'm going to stick around for like 60 seconds unless I get a specific question, and then that'll be all for today. That was pretty successful though. I didn't do anything that was really technically challenging. It was just a whole bunch of architectural refactoring. But I got done quite a bit of stuff, so I'm definitely not complaining. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. Much appreciated. And I will see you in another live stream or another video or something like that. Happy coding. Peace out.